Looking for something to watch this year? Maybe I can help. Hey guys, it's Eggs, and it's finally time for another video again. Since we're near that point of the holiday, I figure it's only best to talk about some of my favorite Christmas specials. And who knows, maybe I'll introduce you to some new ones you guys have never heard of and want to find out. Regardless, let's get on with it. Number 5, Home Alone. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this one. I mean, what's not to love about an 8-year-old boy with a BB gun defending his house from 2 robbers on Christmas? This is one that always fits the glove for me around Christmas time. Mostly with how comical and how daring it is to go with some of the ideas that they decide to do. Like with Kevin buying stuff from the supermarket. That's really good. Or even if it's just the traps that Harry and Marv have to go through at the end. If you do not laugh anywhere out of any of those trap scenes, you really know how to hold in all of your laughter. That, and you'd probably win almost every Try Not to Laugh challenge on YouTube. Number 4, Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. Honestly, this is one I think people aren't really that familiar with. This one takes the iconic gang and puts them into these interesting scenarios for the holidays. And it all has to do with 3 separate stories that each tie into 3 different gifts. And with a narration by Kingsley Grammer, which I have to say is just amazing. And each of the stories that tie into these presents just feels like some sort of a Christmas Carol-like vibe. It's just so very well done. But anyways, the first story is about Huey, Dewey, and Louie, as they get stuck in a Groundhog Day-like scenario where Christmas repeats every single day, and yeah. But they play around with it in such an interesting way that it honestly really works despite how strange it is. Regardless, their story ends with them figuring out why Christmas just lasting one day is so very important. And they do a great job of capturing the theme of what family means around Christmas time. The second story focuses around Max as a kid and Goofy still as a father. And in it, Max kind of struggles with the belief of whether or not Santa is real. But for some reason, Goofy thinks he's real, and, hijinks ensue and stuff. But again, like Huey, Dewey, and Louie's story, it's done very well. It's very nicely paced, and everything just kind of fits together. And this story does a wonderful job of expressing belief and why people believe certain things, like Santa. And the final story is Mickey and Minnie reenacting The Gift of the Magi, which I also think is very well done, particularly in this one. Just all the emotion that they put into every single one of these stories is really good, just on its own. Number 3, The Nightmare Before Christmas. The definition of an underrated classic that quickly rose to greatness with every coming year. I love this film for 3 reasons. 1, it's stop motion. 2, it's a Tim Burton film. And 3, it's so simple, yet so weird that it just makes sense. I'm surprised many people haven't seen this because it has such an understandable plot that even if you were to hear it, it's done in a weird way that I don't know if anyone would have expected. The story is that Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King, becomes tired of living in a town where everything is Halloween-based. And all he wants is a simple change of pace. He then gets his wish fulfilled by seeing that every holiday is given their own little world to live in, as he stumbles across an entire town dedicated to just Christmas. And then Jack gets the brilliant idea to steal Christmas and kinda do a Halloween/Christmas season. Basically trying to mix scary with joyful and see what happens. And yeah, that's pretty much the plot. And I don't know why, but even if it being such like a simple and understanding plot/story, it really works in the best way. The only major complaint that I have with it is the ending. I really didn't feel like Jack and Sally had to get together, because they didn't really have much of a romantic relationship going for them. It just felt weird because we only saw that Sally was the only person that loved Jack. And in the film, Jack didn't show that he loved Sally. If anything, he loved taking over Christmas more than her. But besides that one thing, It's a really good movie, and if you haven't already, definitely check it out. Number 2, Arthur Christmas. This one is one that people really need to watch more, at least in my opinion. The movie focuses on one of the sons of Santa, this one, Arthur, as his older brother is about to become the next Santa, and Arthur, working in the mailroom, realizes that they've missed a kid and have to get the present to her before Christmas is over. Along the way, he's joined by an elf who takes her job way too seriously, and his cranky old grandpa who was supposedly the first Santa. I don't know. But regardless, you can tell where this story was going. But somehow it still surprises you, even if it's a simple plot. See, what this film does really well is explain how Christmas is viewed through different points of view. It's like your parents and your grandparents and your aunt are all trying to figure out what to get you for Christmas, and they all have their different point of views. And that's something this movie captures perfectly with how everyone sees it and how they choose to do Christmas. For example, with the grandpa in this version being obsessed with doing everything the old-fashioned way, the Santa that's about to hang up his coat, wondering about how the future's going to be, and his son figuring out the newest and latest ways to do it in all their different forms of technology that they have. And I felt like it could have been so easy for them to write a villain out of the older brother, but they don't, which I really admire for that. If I haven't made my point yet, or at least come across to you guys with this one, go ahead, watch it. It's funny, it's clever, it's creative, and I hope with every single year, this will be somewhat, if not remembered as an iconic Christmas special, just because of how it is. And of course, number 1. A Charlie Brown Christmas. Yeah, I figured someone who's watching this would probably think, of course he had to have this one on the list. It's so iconic. And who could blame you? It is so iconic. But I choose to love this special for a completely different reason than what you're thinking. For one thing, considering the time and when this special came out, it took a lot of risks. I say that because almost everyone I've spoken to about this forget that this came out in 1965, and the theme or message was commercialism, and that was not a very common message back then. And even with the quoting of the Bible that Linus does at the end, that was a really daring thing for them to do. And even though at first people did not seem to like it, over time it's grown an amazingly big following, with both kids and adults alike. It's so simple, and yet very complex, and very, very descriptive with the lesson it's trying to teach. I 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, recommend this. Sure, the animation's not good, and you could argue that a lot of other stuff that they do in it is not good, but I strongly disagree. So, yeah. And so, that was my top 5 favorite Christmas specials. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I gave you something somewhat intriguing or interesting for you to watch during this weird holiday season. And with all that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoy your holiday season, and Happy New Year, I guess. I don't know.